Tom, how's it going?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. Hey, that is a lovely beard.
Yeah, man. I was thinking that this might be recorded. I was like, I should probably got it trimmed before.
No, that's great. How long have you been growing that thing?
I've had it on my face. Well, I've had my beard for like past couple of years. It gets pretty solid.
Gets pretty gangly.
Well, especially through COVID, right?
Oh.
The thing is, I don't know, because you got a solid beard too, but I don't know if the issue for me is when I try to trim it myself.
Yeah.
I always screw it up. Like I'll take too much off of one side, and then it's like I look lopsided. So I got to get it done by the barber, but then it's like, okay, barbers have been closed.
Barbers are closed.
Yeah.
I hear ya. It's a struggle trimming a beard, and then like I always trim my own too. Like this is pretty like recently. Mine kind of gets bushy too, but.
Yeah.
I hear you. Like you take too much off, and they're like, "Oh, I wasn't going that. I didn't want to go that short, or I didn't want to keep it that long." So you're right. You got to go see someone.
Yeah. Well, and then I've done it a couple times where I go too short, and then I'm like, well, I guess I'm shaving it off now. Like,
right. It's got to go now.
Exactly.
Then just back to baby face, and nobody wants that.
Exactly, man. Exactly. How long you been with Edge?
I've been with Edge since October 2019, so just about it'll be 2 years this upcoming school year.
Excellent. And how you liking it, man?
I love it. It's great here. Really enjoy it. Kind of director of marketing, so kind of a one-man show in terms of like all the marketing and comms that comes from the school. So always lots to never a dull day, never a dull moment, and I love that. I mean, there's always something on the go, and I mean, I haven't really been here for an entire normal school year. I mean,
because you
March
started
last
right
year, I was literally
COVID,
6 months into it, and it's like, nope, COVID, and so I don't know what a normal year looks like. I'm honestly like, when it finally happens, I don't know what to expect and how a normal year will look. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Nice. Yeah. Hopefully right around the horizon here. Like, are the kids in school now?
Yeah, kids have been back since they released that kind of next set of restrictions. I think it was after the May long weekend. The kids have been back. So far so good. And just a couple weeks to go. And then, we're done another year. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah. It's nuts. Yeah.
Have you been able to work through all this, just working from home?
Yeah, man. It's doing this pretty much all day. Like, today I've got 5 Zoom meetings.
Oh my goodness.
The transition.
Meetings, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like our company's done really well in terms of. Before I was pretty mobile, so I moved over to Matco, similar to when you started at Edge. I was over November 2019, so just before the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. But I got set up originally as being super mobile, so I work off my laptop and everything anyways. I go and see all my clients rather than making them come downtown, go and hang out with them and see what's going on in their life, all that stuff. So the transition wasn't too tough. It's just, it's just getting these Zoom meetings. I'm really looking forward to getting back to face-to-face stuff.
Oh, I hear you.
I'd say that, right?
It's just you get sick of it pretty fast. Like we've kind of had the option on and off to work from home during this all, and I'm like, no, I'm going in the office, And then when we first got locked down, if I happened to see somebody, I was so happy just to have some face-to-face interaction. So I'm like you, I'm taking the option if I have the opportunity to work, in front of people, I'm doing it.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, no. And one of the things that threw a wrench into everything was my wife and I had our first kid in November 2020. So he's just 7 months here. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. It was an interesting, a ton of people, even old friends from Edge and stuff. It seems like everybody's popping out kids, but it was a wild roller coaster through COVID and all that kind of stuff, and stick handling the hospital and everything there too. And then for the first little while, it's like didn't want to leave the house. You didn't know if you were going to infect the baby, like all that stuff. Right?
Oh, having a baby during, I can't imagine. I have a friend, they had their first as well, same thing, and it's like, you got to wear your mask the whole time in the hospital, and it's just, I can't imagine. Just it's a tough time to have a baby.
Oh yeah, well, and it felt like almost like a sci-fi movie, right? With everybody, obviously it's all protocol and everything, but they come in like full PPE. And the doctors have masks on and like full masks, like the plastic headgear kind of masks and stuff. And you're just sitting there and you're like, okay.
You're like, I did not expect this when I was going to have my first kid.
Exactly, man.
I did not see this coming.
Yeah, everything went smooth and all that kind of stuff. So
that's good.
That's good. But
boy or a girl?
It was a boy.
Boy, congrats.
Yeah. So we'll get him. Hoping to get him on hockey skates. Hopefully next winter, man.
There you go. What's his name?
Jack.
Jack. I got a Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
he was born in August of 2019, so just pre-COVID.
There you go, man. There you go.
Look at that, Jackson awesome. Beards. Oh, we're just got so much in common, Tom.
There you go. We're rocking.
We're just gonna skip the interview. Let's just go right to having a beverage together.
Yeah, go and have a couple sodas.
Absolutely. Hey, I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, no worries.
As Dana kind of mentioned, obviously we had the career days, but we also decided to tackle a bit of a spotlight feature where, it's just, everybody's online anyways. We thought, why not, take the time, catch up with some alum, and just kind of get you to reflect back on your time at Edge. And then we kind of ask you what you're into now, kind of what you've been up to since Edge. Obviously, it's been a while since you were here. So I think in terms of grads, you're probably our first one that graduated further along than some of our other guests that we've had so far.
Cool.
So what year did you graduate from Edge? How long were you here for?
Yeah, for sure. So I graduated in 2007. I started at Edge in grade 7. So, geez, I don't even know what year that would have been, but that was back when Edge was tucked into Calgary Academy.
Yeah.
We had a couple of classrooms in Calgary Academy. So at that point in time, I think there was only a grade 7 class, 8 and 9. So yeah, really grew with the school. So even at career day, when I was chatting to the students, like I've been back to the school now, but I was always in the inception stages of Edge where we were tucked into other schools. So a couple of years at Calgary Academy, and then the rest of the time at Calgary French International School.
Yeah.
So yeah, been a while since graduation, and now on the alumni board and all that kind of stuff. So it's great to keep in contact and make sure that know what's going on and everything going on with the school too.
That's great. Hey, so have you been to like the current location of the school now?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's good. I was gonna say if not, we got to get you out here.
There you go. Yeah, no, played hockey a couple times, a couple of like fun tournaments and stuff like that, and then I actually came. Man, with COVID year, it's all my years are messed up. But I think about two years ago, I came to talk. I gave the commencement speech for the graduates that year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was either 2 or 3 years ago. So that was a lot of fun too. So be able to see all old teachers like Brownie and Dana Ellis and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was a good time.
It's great that you're still so well connected. I think that's kind of the hard part is. We have a lot of grads that never really came to our current school location, right? They were like you, they were just kind of wherever we were at the time. And, that's the thing is that's why we ask, like, have you been out here since? Have you been back? And we want to try and get those grads back into the school. And you can see, this is how far it's come. This is where we are now.
Totally. Absolutely. Well, and even just so many people that are scattered all over North America.
For sure. And that's crazy too. Our grads are all over the place. We're starting to find that out more and more now that we're doing these spotlights. So it's really cool. What Edge, why did you initially choose to go to Edge back then? Obviously sports guy. But what was the main reason you and your family are like, we're gonna make the jump to Edge and try it out?
For sure. Yeah. Hockey was a big driver. And so was education. So I think the two main pillars of being a student athlete, right? So originally, it was back when Brent DeVoe was running the school and everything there. So met with Brent, went through the initial testing and all that kind of stuff, and made the hop over mostly because of the smaller class sizes, engage with the teachers, other students a lot more. And then the optionality to obviously progress my hockey career and all that kind of stuff, but initially more of the focus on the education side of things to kickstart things there. And not kickstart, obviously I was already at grade 7, but keep things rolling in the right direction kind of deal, right?
Yeah. What did you like about it at the time? Obviously I have no idea what things looked like then, but what did you like about Edge that it had to offer back when you were in school?
Totally. Our grade 7 class, I think we were 13 kids. Of the 13 kids, 4 of us were named Tom. So Thomas Hickey, Tom McDare, myself, and yeah. So there was it was kind of a weird mix there, but yeah, no, it was a lot more like it was obviously school, but great tight knit group of kids. So with the hockey element, all of us played hockey. So it was back when there wasn't a lot of diversity in terms of sports or anything like that. But great camaraderie in terms of going on the ice, being in the classroom. It was basically like you're around your hockey team all the time, right? So it was had a great time. We had obviously good relationships with everybody in the classroom, and make sure that we treat each other well and all that kind of stuff. Our teachers were amazing, great, both young and enthusiastic, and awesome leaders, I guess, to teach us. It was basically my entire time frame in Edge was very much like that. The school built up around us, but even still, like our graduating class was maybe, if I had to guess, maybe 30 kids, right? So it was, and I think it's still very similar today that, we had a great time every day. It'd be interesting to hear from the teacher's perspective of things that you got 13 grade 7 all boys kind of running around being animals all day. But from my point of view, it was you're excited to go to school. You're not always excited to learn, but excited to play hockey, excited to be around the boys and all that kind of stuff, right? So it was an awesome structure for me, and really I think benefited me quite a bit.
Do you still keep in touch with a lot of the kids that went to the school at the time, or any of the grads?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the guys that stood up in my wedding a couple of years ago, Jared Stern, he's out in Vancouver. He just had a baby too. He's one of my best friends. Played junior hockey together, all that kind of stuff. See tons of guys downtown. It's hilarious. Like when we were actually downtown, like,
right? Yeah,
walking through plus 15s and everything like that, and it's just the hockey world's so small, and then you're running into guys left, right, and center in terms of Edge alumni and all that kind of stuff too. So see a good chunk of people play hockey. Like signed up for a beer league hockey team. Obviously got shut down with COVID, but one of the guys on the team was a guy that I played on the prep team with, Tyler Eskison. So it was like I got asked by another buddy and didn't really know anybody on the team. Show up in the dressing room, and there's Esky sitting there, and I'm like, hey bud, how's it going, right? So it's great, good, tight knit, and it is with most hockey guys and most sports people, I think, like you might not talk to them for a couple of years, or even since high school or something like that, and it was one of the first time I've seen Esky in a couple of years at least. But things take off just like you saw him yesterday, right? So it's good tight knit group of people. All Edge alumni. I think that's one of the biggest benefits to the structure at Edge is that it's you're very much family, right? So it's people take the time of day to chat with you and help you out, and give you guidance or anything like that. There's been tons of times where I connect with people, even being in the finance side of things. I've had old buddies from Edge reach out to me and say, you know what, Tom, I'm starting to make some dough. Like, what do I do in terms of investments and everything like that, right? So it's it's awesome. It's a wicked structure for sure.
That's a good transition. We were kind of talking about just kind of the Edge family and how people are influential to you. Was there someone at Edge that influenced you the most during your time here? Maybe a staff member that comes to mind where you kind of think back and say, yeah, they had a big influence on my growth as an individual or as a student athlete? Totally.
I think there are several. In terms of different stages, like as I said, we had great young teachers to start out with. Like Jen Brewer was one. She was right at the very forefront of. I think she was our grade 7 teacher. Brent DeVoe was always. He was on the ice with us every day. He was a phenomenal guy. Dana Ellis and Brownie are still at the school. Two people that both taught me, and I think especially with Brownie taking a sports psychology class and having a great personality and very relatable to the students. I think that he did a great job there. But not to like, and then you can go down the list. Jason Hurdle, Fowler. They're all older teachers that were just excellent people, right? So great teachers, but fun to be around, easily approachable. Jason O'Leary was another one that he was probably grade 9, grade 10 for me. But all very energetic and excited to be at school, excited to teach, excited to help people out. Like it was, I think that was one of the cool things about Edge is that, and not to knock any of the other teachers that I had. Mr. Checkley was another great one. Checkley was, I know that he's a mascot, and I could tell you story after story about Checkley, and took physics with him and all that kind of stuff. But he was an amazing guy too. That the amount of solid talent and I guess recruiting that Edge did, and obviously it's I believe that it's teachers would want to come to teach at Edge, so they get a good chunk of talent that way. But every single teacher that I had my entire time through Edge, and coaches and principals, all that kind of stuff, they were all awesome. It wasn't it was great.
That's pretty impressive. You recited a lot of names. Like from my time in high school, I don't even know if I could have matched the amount you just said. So that says a lot about the staff we had here for sure. That's the second time Mr. Checkley's come up. So sounds like he was a popular one for sure.
He was amazing. The guy, he would host early morning kind of check-in sessions if you were struggling in class or had any questions or anything like that. Always went the extra mile. He was an unbelievable sense of humor and things like that too. So he was a great guy for sure.
What advice do you have for current students who want to make the most out of the experience at Edge, or general advice for upcoming grads from our school?
For sure. I actually said this on career day too, because I was thinking about, I was like, man, I hope this question comes up. But the big thing for me, I actually learned this in university, was, at Edge, we had such a tight-knit group that I always felt comfortable doing things, right? So it'd be like, going to a hockey game with one of the guys or something like that, right? But then when I went to university, it was more of stepping out of that shell. I went down to in Wisconsin. I went to university, and I think the biggest thing that I can pass along is putting yourself out there and doing things that don't feel comfortable. I think some of the best things that I did at university and throughout my time at Edge and all that kind of stuff were either events or going to do something, or that you're like, no, this doesn't, I don't really feel like doing this or whatever, right? And most of the time, especially at university, that I was technically an international student. Well, not technically, I was an international student, being from Canada, right? And I got in my international orientation. I was one of 2 Canadians, and everybody else is, from China and Vietnam and Brazil and all this kind of stuff. So it was how to ask where the toilet is and things like that, right? Yeah. So, but then what stemmed from that is I started to build a great network of the international students, because I was, I got plunked in that spot, and I got invited to a whole bunch of different dinners and all this kind of stuff. I had my hockey team and all the guys that I hung out with, but sometimes I would be like, I don't know if this is for me, and then I would end up going, and it'd be an unbelievable experience, right? So, and then you make better connections, you meet new people, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's what I mentioned in career day, as well as just putting yourself out there, and whether or not you think it's going to be fun or whatever, give everything a shot, right? And then afterwards, if it didn't go the way that you wanted, then you can be like, you know what, that wasn't for me. But I would say, out of all of the, events, as I said, and all that kind of stuff that I got invited to and went, that I thought wouldn't be a good time or fun or anything like that, I'd say 95% of them ended up being a great time, right? So it's like, okay, it's probably the internal walls that you got to break down and all that kind of stuff to get yourself out of your comfort zone to do it. But, it's, I think, and then it also kind of folds out tenfold into my career, right? So you're into uncomfortable situations. You got to chat. You got to talk to people, make small talk. You got to network. Everything that comes with a traditional career nowadays.
Yeah.
And by putting yourself earlier in your life into those uncomfortable situations, I think that it's benefited me substantially throughout my career as well.
Networking is so important. It really is all about who you know.
Totally.
You never know if you're
Absolutely.
gonna meet somebody that ends up helping you in your career down the line or whatever. It's crazy how that works.
Definitely.
How did Edge prepare you for post-secondary and for your career?
For sure. It was great. So even everything down to building character. Obviously, the academics side of things was the base, right? So got all my academics done at Edge. As I mentioned before in the interview, solid platform in terms of having good grades and everything like that, to give me the optionality, I guess, for post-secondary. It was excellent. Everything, and even drilling down to, having like midterms and everything at Edge, right? So preparing for big tests, big projects, structuring the underlying education towards more of a post-secondary structure. It was great. And then even the other side benefit to it, I think for me, because I was a student athlete at a university as well, is the basis of going out and practicing during the day while you're at Edge, and balancing the kind of the student athlete lifestyle and everything there. I did see for sure that I think I had a very good grasp in university of balancing that life, whereas some of my peers and stuff like that, you had to help them out a little bit in terms of time management, committing to different things, all that kind of stuff, right? So I think it was one of the situations where a good chunk of what I learned at Edge has carried me on through post-secondary, and now through my career and everything there, that even as we mentioned, networking, chatting with different people down the Edge. So Edge parents that I'll be chatting with the client, and they're like, oh yeah, one of my best friends, they sent their kids to Edge, right? So
yeah,
it'll be the reputation in the school has really exploded in terms of the Calgary landscape, where back when first there was probably about 40 kids tucked into Calgary Academy, right? So
no, it's come a long ways. It's nice to hear that our reputation is kind of still spreading. Now I know there's still a lot of people who don't know about us, but being the marketing director, that's what I want to hear. So that's the feedback I like, Tom.
There you go, man. I'm just pumping your tires a bit.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No worries.
Tell me about life after Edge. Obviously, you're talking about your time at University of Wisconsin.
Yep.
So that's a little bit what I was going to ask, where you went to school. What did you end up taking when you went to university? Just tell me about life after graduating from there. For
sure. So I played a couple of years in the AJHL. So I played 2 years here in Calgary, and then 1 year out in Canmore, and then committed to University of Wisconsin Eau Claire. So it's about an hour and a half out of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. So went down there. It was amazing. One of my goals was to play NCAA hockey, so that was a big check mark for me, and get my education out of it. So took business finance down there, and graduated with a finance degree. We won the national championship my last year that I was down there. So I played Frozen Four in Lake Placid and all that kind of stuff. So it was a nice send off from university. And then ended up moving back home. So started in wealth management. I did a couple of internships when I was back home in the summers in wealth management, and then had a great opportunity to join a solid team once I graduated. And basically worked my way up from the bottom in the wealth management industry. So started as an assistant, a lot of paperwork, all that kind of stuff. Did all my exams and licensing. Popped up, and now I'm a portfolio manager at Matco Financial. So it's been a solid journey. It was quicker journey, I think, than most for most people, just because I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to get it done and get in the seat where I am now. And I kind of things just fell into place in terms of working with great people, working at great companies, and now, even as I mentioned before, the Edge Parents Connection, the president at Matco Financial, his son has gone to Edge. He's up in Spruce Grove now, but he was an Edge student as well. So it's pretty cool in terms of seeing that spider web of connections out there, right? So that's kind of how things have landed. I've hopped around to a couple different shops in Calgary, but now, as I mentioned, moved over to Matco in November 2019, and love the team, love the structure. We've been doing great in-house. Our in-house investments have been phenomenal. So it's kind of the long-term plan for me to hang out there.
That's awesome. Tell me about a day-to-day. What's a day-to-day look like? What do you like about it?
Totally. It's similar to what you were saying, man. It's every day is it's different, right? So when you're dealing with the markets, so first thing is like the stock market. You can wake up any morning. It could be up, it could be down, it could be falling apart, it could be substantially up, right? So that's what you're playing off first. The other thing that I love about my job is just the personal connection. So helping people out, right? So I deal with anybody from basically young professionals that'll be starting out, getting things rocking and rolling, start to build their wealth, all the way up to retirees and the high net worth individuals in Calgary, right? So that's one of the cool things about the Matco structure is you're able to deal with that full I guess the full timeline of building wealth. On a day-to-day basis, like now since COVID, it's a lot of Zoom meetings. Checking in with clients, making sure we know what's going on in their lives, answering any questions. A lot of our structure is heavily focused on client service, right? So, being available for whenever anybody needs anything. When you're dealing with money, very rarely are things not an emergency, right? So
right, yeah, for sure.
It's like, hey, Tom, I need money, or I'm sending you money, or something like that, right? So have a great book of business and great clientele base that you're checking in there with, and then on a consistent basis, all you're trying to do is kind of in your wheelhouse is going out and market and build the Matco name and try to get more clients in the door, help as many people as it possibly can, kind of deal.
That's great. Yeah. Obviously, baby at home, but what do you do for fun or any interesting hobbies? I know it's hard to do anything right now. But obviously, you say you still play hockey. I'm sure that's one thing. Yeah.
So I took a couple of years off, and it was funny. I was making a joke with some of my clients. Felt like I just started to get back into hockey shape when they shut things down in November.
Out the window.
So, it's like restart. And with the baby coming, it's working on the dad bod for sure. So gotta get back on the skates. But pretty traditional ex-hockey player. Golf in the summer. Always trying to improve that game, but I don't think it ever improves. And hockey in the winter kind of deal, right? So with the little one, as I mentioned, hopefully start getting them out and doing more stuff as the COVID restrictions lift here, and go out to the mountains and expose them to different things. It's been a unique couple of months for sure that you can't really do a whole lot.
No kidding.
Even to the point, even with the weather changes and all that kind of stuff, having them in November, got a nice stroller and stuff. It's like, you're not going for walks.
Can't use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta wait.
Yeah, exactly. So, besides that, and visiting with friends, like really, as I mentioned before, just looking forward to the social aspect on the other side of this. Like, I know that with the province announcing like best summer ever and all that kind of stuff, it's really, really hope it goes that way. So, actually, one of the other hobbies that I picked up over the past couple of years is smoking meat in my backyard.
Nice.
So brisket and pork shoulder and all that kind of stuff. So I've already made a deal with my wife that we're probably going to be hosting some smokes almost every weekend, just to, get people over and get people out and about and even chatting with some clients and stuff, I think there is that social anxiety and social
I was just gonna say, I think a lot of us, we don't know how to act in social settings anymore.
Yeah,
and we're almost scared. We're almost scared to socialize because we're so used to being in our little tiny bubbles now. It's crazy.
Definitely. So I just putting out some broad invites and all that kind of stuff. I'll have to flip you one and maybe have an intro or something like that.
I was gonna say, like, we gotta hang out, man. Like, you smoke and everything. Like, you got a smoker in the backyard and have some ribs. I mean, come on, this is too good to be true.
There you go, man. There you go.
Help me keep up my dad bod as well. Come on.
There you go. Exactly. We can work on it. Have a couple of sodas and some smoked meat, right? So looking forward to a summer like that and everything that comes with that. But get some games of golf and probably smoke some meat. That's what it's going to be about.
Oh, I hear you. All these conversations and things opening up again. We're all just crossing our fingers, hoping for the best. So. Let's exactly. See what comes of it. With Jack, like my son he's turning 2 in August, but I think as a dad, you'll probably love, like, when they turn like 18 months is when it starts to like, be like, okay, I'm really enjoying this. I know for me, like, the baby stage is more so like the mom's time to thrive. And then once they start to get older, it's like, okay, dad's coming in, we're going to play. We're going to, they start to talk. So I know it's still a ways away for you, but I'm just prepping you now. It's like the best time to be a dad.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. Yeah, and just get out, as I said, like, get out and do stuff with that.
Oh, right? Totally.
So right now it has been a lot of mom time, all that kind of stuff. Try to do as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
But he is very dependent on her. But it'll hopefully transition to a little bit of dad time soon enough here.
Absolutely. Last one for you. It's kind of just a random one, but anything that people would be surprised to learn about you?
Well, I was a fighter in juniors. A lot of people don't know. Well, I'm a bigger guy, but I started my commencement speech out with that, actually. That I think I had over 50 fights in the AJ. Went to NCAA. Not much of a traditional NCAA player, being a fighter, but I also got into. It was one of the first fights in NCAA in a couple of years. My freshman year when I was up there. But besides that, I think usually, and I say that because I think my personality is a little bit more outgoing and happy-go-lucky and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where people are like, "Wow, you got into 50 fights? You got a weird switch in your brain that you just turn on and go nuts or what?" But I'm more that big teddy bear personality, and it was more that traditional stick up for your teammates, the old school hockey mentality that doesn't really exist in the show anymore. But that would be one. Besides that, I think it's more that I do have that intimidating structure and bigger guy and all that kind of stuff. But I think once you get to chatting with me, that's usually what I get for feedback with my prospects and clients with the big beard and it's big shoulders, all that kind of stuff. Now I'm working on the big beer belly. But
I didn't see the fighter thing coming. I got to tell you, just based on our conversation, I was like, oh, that's the nicest guy around. Meanwhile, he's punching dudes in the face.
There you go. So. It was different hockey back then, right? Actually,
sure.
the year after I left the AJ, my younger brother was still playing in it, and they started to introduce the rules where if you get your first fight, you get a game suspension.
Right.
Second fight is 2 games, all that kind of stuff. But when I was there, when I started, I played for the Calgary Royals. It would have been 07, 08, I believe. And right after graduation, and it was old school hockey. Every single team had one big animal. I wasn't that guy when I was a rookie, but you over the couple of years of playing, you pick up some tricks of the trades. And first couple of years, I probably had 10, 15 fights, and then my last year I had probably about 20, 25, I think. So
wow.
It was it was a fun experience, and I'd hopefully still have my brain intact and all that kind of stuff. Never got any serious injuries from it, so that's good. Yeah, I think that is one of the more surprising ones that I usually tell people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I'm surprised. Are you a big hockey fan? You watch a lot of hockey?
Yeah, man, we've been watching a lot of. Well, there's not much to do.
Not much to do. We're sitting on our couch a lot. I agree.
Exactly.
Who is usually your team you cheer for? Or do you have one?
Yeah, so my Western team is Calgary.
Yeah.
My older brother works for the Flames. He's in their media department, so get a lot of insight from him. And then my Eastern team are the Habs. So the rest, I've got 3 brothers at home. So, well, not at home; they're in Calgary now. But my dad and my mom and dad were originally from Toronto, so they're all Leafs fans. And as a kid, I kind of want to be the rebel, I guess. So I picked the Habs. So Habs have always been my favorite team, and then obviously got to support the Flames, being the hometown team.
Oh, of course. So, this is the embarrassing part of the conversation where I tell you I'm a Leafs fan, and I hate myself for cheering for such a brutal hockey club.
I was in my hockey pool this year. I picked all Leafs and all Colorado Avalanche. Man, I thought they were going to make a run with all the older talent that they picked up and everything. It was, and it was one of those bittersweet moments that I was actually cheering for the Leafs in the Habs Leafs series, but I was like, man. And then last night the Habs beat the Jets too.
Just couldn't get her done, and Habs won last night.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah.
Playoffs are a different ball game, but man, it's just like the second that Montreal forced a Game 7, like Leaf fans everywhere are just like, it's over. Like, we just know the DNA of this team. It doesn't matter who's on the roster. Like, they're gonna choke.
Yeah. Well, and it's just gripping the stick too tight. You could see it even.
Mitch Marner, man. Marner was feeling the pressure. You could just see it. Yeah.
It's tough, right? And now with all the conversations about where they're going to get traded and stuff like that, it's like, man, they're great young talent. You can't do anything about that. It's just comes with experience, right?
It does.
It's playing in those big games and learning from it and trying to come back better next year, kind of deal.
Yeah, well, you trade a guy like Marner, and then you try to find a high-scoring right winger for the next 20 to 30 years. It's like, guys, you never win those trades when you trade a young, budding superstar who was top 5 in league scoring. You trade him, okay, well, who's going to provide the offense? Like, you're not going to get it back in a trade.
Exactly. Well, it's the story of the Flames for like the past 20 years.
Yeah.
They're trying to pick up washed up talent, and they don't have enough younger guys, right? So, yeah, hopefully it'll be interesting. I'm really hoping. I actually coached Cale Makar when I first went back to Calgary. Yeah. So he played up in the Northwest. It was a 15-year-old league. So follow him quite a bit. I was his D coach, but I didn't really do anything. It was unbelievable back then. Too,
Cale, just go out and do your thing. So was he always was he always just a phenomenal talent?
He was unbelievable. Yeah, to the point where, we had a great team, great group of kids, just not a whole bunch of talent in that year of hockey for us. But Cale was outstanding, to the point where, he'd come back to the bench. I'd say, are you tired? Do you want to stay on the ice? Like,
go again.
You can stay out there, man. Yeah, you got that you can go do a 4-minute shift, right? So
that's great.
I'm really hoping for the Avalanche to do well this year, and
they look primed for a run for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. It was great chatting with you. It's great to get to know you.
Totally.
It's really nice for me, obviously being a new Mountaineer, just catching up with some of the former ones and getting to know the people that were here before. And safe to say you're an awesome guy, and I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate your time too. We'll have to, once things open up here, we'll get together for a soda. And
absolutely, that would be fantastic. I'd love that.
Awesome, man. That sounds great.
Beauty, right, thanks, Tom.
Take it easy.
Hey, you as well, man. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.